This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 673 of the Dressage Radio Show, official podcast of the United States Dressage Federation on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products and Trust Design. On this week's edition, we chat with Angela Ariatti about fun things to do over the summer. And then our friend Patty Mayer talks about her horse being involved in the Para World Championship selection trials happening at Tryon. And then Reese and I will bring you a great series of tips.
This is Reese Koppler-Stanfield from Georgetown, Kentucky.
And this is Philip Parks from Rockwood, Ontario, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show.
Hi, Phil. How are you?
I'm doing good, Reese. How are you?
I love it. Well, it was really hot here today. So, and when I mean really hot, like heat index over 100, you know, the horses all came out today when they were sweaty before we even started. So we did very light Monday work today. We are recording on a Monday, and just because we have various things going on in the summer, things get a little bit more hectic as we record the show. So we have to get a little creative with our timing. So normally we record Thursdays, but today it's a Monday. So my horses did some stretchy work, but again, it was so hot. You know, I didn't feel like I could really do a ton of work today. So, but we finished early and everybody went into the air conditioning. Which is good. Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, it's beautiful here now, and definitely not too hot. Kind of a perfect day. So we are waiting on a foal. I think it's going to happen tonight.
I can't wait for pictures.
It's very exciting. Yeah, everybody knows that I work for a small breeder, so this will be the second of two foals for the year or whatever, and it's always very exciting. I did a little bit of my own breeding prior to working this job, and I think the foals are just my favorite part of all of it. You know, riding I love, and dressage of course I love, but foaling is a perfect time, and it's very stressful. Hopefully it all goes well, and we have a beautiful healthy foal tomorrow.
I know.
Or the next day. I know.
Right, or the next day. Are you going to be there?
Yeah.
Do you go in for the phones?
Well, it depends. If it's middle of the night, no. But Angela will text me when it's imminent, anyways, and whether I wake up or not is another thing. But I love going to the barn, and everything's gone well, and it's a miracle of life.
Yeah. Oh, how fun. Well, I can't wait for pictures. Like, that's going to be so exciting. And we've got a good summer show. Again, we are kind of celebrating. I really like to celebrate like my birthday month. So we're celebrating our anniversary month here on the show. Our 10 years of podcasting. Our official anniversary is at the end of the month, but we're really kind of taking this month and reminiscing with some friends and reminiscing with our sponsors and just having a really good time. And we have a really fun show. Angela Ariatti is going to come on and talk about what to do with youngins at camp. And I have to report my niece went to her first pony club camp today. I haven't officially gotten the report from my sister, who's been on the show, Lindsay, to see exactly how it went. But I got some pictures midday from a friend of ours that was there, and they were all getting ready. They had done their morning ride, and they were going to the swimming pool in preparation for their evening rides. So, so far, so good, I think. I can't wait to hear all about it. My niece and I, we packed a little bit, and we talked about packing and talked about how she needed to stay hydrated. And so it'll be really fun to hear how her first pony club camp went. So I'm looking forward to that tonight. Well, we hope you enjoy our great show today. We're going to have a quick commercial break from Kentucky Performance Products and get into the show.
This Nutrition Minute is brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products, the company that simplifies your search for research-proven nutritional supplements at kppusa.com.
Did you know that easy keepers and horses on restricted diets are often at risk for vitamin and mineral deficiencies? Most easy keepers are maintained on hay, and some get a few handfuls of grain a day, and most of these horses get little to no green grass. Diets that don't include significant levels of green grass or recommended amounts of fortified concentrates just don't supply enough vitamins and minerals. Many horse folks don't realize that hay alone, even high-quality green hay, is not an adequate source of many vitamins. For example, when grass is cut and dried for hay, the vitamins quickly lose their potency. 70% of the vitamin E found in grass is lost in the first week after it is cut for hay. One way to ensure that your special needs horse is getting all the vitamins and minerals he needs is to add a vitamin and mineral supplement to his diet. A well-balanced supplement will provide the nutrients your horse requires without adding unwanted calories, starches, and sugars. Microphase, made by Kentucky Performance Products, is a vitamin and trace mineral supplement that bridges the gap in your feeding program. With Microphase, your horse receives adequate and balanced vitamin and mineral nutrition without unwanted calories or other ingredients. The minerals in Microphase have been chelated, a process that protects minerals during digestion and increases their absorption in the intestine. Microphase provides vitamins, such as vitamin E, in a natural form, so your horse receives optimal results from this supplement.
This Nutritional Minute has been brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products. You can find all of their terrific products at kppusa.com.
Well, tonight, back on the show, we are so happy to have Angela Ariatti of Ariatti Equestrian Services in Kentucky, and she is the most amazing person with kiddos. So it's kiddo time. It's summer, so I wanted to have her back on the show. Welcome back, Angela.
Thanks, guys. Happy summer.
Happy
Been
summer.
great.
Your kids
And-
are off school now, right?
Yes, are you?
Oh, yeah.
No,
Still, are you
ours
guys-
are ours are in. Well, I don't personally have any, but ours are in till the end of the month.
Really?
Yeah,
So
no,
you're-
our kids are all out of school and happy to be together again, and very excited for camp and Pony Club Rally.
Oh, it's
So
happening.
They're all gearing up for Pony Club Rally in 2 weeks, and we had our first week of camp this week, and some newbies came in, and so it's been very exciting.
I love it. Well,
Very-
so Angela, I was at your house and we were talking a little bit. We wanted to talk about age groups and sort of what are some appropriate things to do with kiddos at each age group. So I'm going to let you take it away because I know you have everything prepared.
Yes, yes. So it's really fun to spend some time with your kids, like slow things down during the summer a little bit. And one of the favorite thing that my young group of kids, and that's the age of 4 to 8, love to do is beauty day on their ponies. They love this. So if you have, your own farm, or even if you have your horses or ponies at a boarded facility, make some time to have beauty day. So they get to shampoo, they get to condition their tails, you teach them how to braid. This is very good for them to understand how to use their hands. Trim up their ponies a little bit. Like I like to trim up their fetlocks, maybe show them how to bang the tail, but don't glitter paint their hooves. We're not doing glitter paint.
No glitter.
No
Glitter's
glitter.
huge, and my niece is big in glitter toes. And
Yeah.
so
And
everybody
glitter paint.
around their house has glitter toes, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Can I confess?
Go ahead.
I really like beauty day for my horses, and I'm 42. So what does that say? I love spa day. I like to beauty. I'm not going to lie. Like I like to do
Yeah,
that. So
and
I
like
can come
even
to-
like tell it, really curry the ponies and be like, okay, I want you guys to find where the special place is on your horse. We always talk about that. If you know the groom Emma Ford, she's big on that too. Spend time with your horse, currying him, and find that special place that he likes a little scratch. And so they like doing that. They like to find it, and then currying him and spending, like you said, spa day. They love that. So that's number one. And they'll do hours of that, right? Then the other thing that I love to have them do is bareback day. And we don't call it bareback day. We just call it bareback ride. And sometimes this is hard. And we just get on and we just walk around, or they follow their mommies. I have a lot of young kids that parents are in their horses or into horses. And so it's like, get on your pony bareback and follow your mommy around while she's trying to do her dressage pattern.
Sure, mommy loves that. Just saying.
Yeah, it's always fun, but not fast. It can be at whatever speed they feel comfortable with, and because subconsciously their body is finding the balance point. So the more they have playtime bareback, I have one little girl that she's got a very round pony. So he's like a table on the top, and she gets on her little pony and they put her out in a little paddock and she just rides that pony back and forth bareback all day long. Like that's all she does. And it's helping her balance point so much. So I think that's really important. Then the other thing that I like to do, and some of my friends are really good at it, I tend to cheat and hide things. So it's the scavenger trail ride. So you go on a walk trail ride, and I have friends that actually know what different plants look like. Not me. I actually hide things on my scavenger hunt. So like I'll hide a hook pick, or I'll put a pitchfork out, or I'll put a stuffed animal in the tree. And it's like, okay, we're going to go out and look for the owl. And the owl is actually a stuffed animal. But my friends, they'll go out on a scavenger hunt and they're looking for like the oak tree and the poison ivy, or all sorts of, the wild rose flowers, or those really thorny trees. And they know all the names of it. And I think that's nice because they're out in nature. They're feeling, again, the uneven terrain. They're going, it's nice and slow, walk across a creek, that sort of thing. So it doesn't need to be fast. It can just be like riding out in, nice, calm little scavenger trail house. But getting them to observe what's around them is important. So that's kind of the age from 4 to 8. That's kind of like the things I would suggest there. And then
I want to come to camp. I want to.
And then 8 to 11, you got to pick up the pace a little bit. So this is where you get to paint your pony, but it's not just like random acts of paint.
Okay.
Jeez.
Free-range chicken kids that paint everything. I'm not into that. I have a little more dressage etiquette in me. So we're going to take blue, and I want you to put the blue paint on the point of the shoulder. And I want you to put the red paint on the wither. And and you go like that. And so now we're learning the parts of the horse, right? So sometimes I'll do certain colors. The primary colors will be like bony structures, and then soft, the muscles, or the like neck, shoulder, butt, barrel will be a certain other color. So they kind of get the idea that so then we're starting to kind of narrow down between bones and soft tissue type things. So it's not random acts of paint. Just make it educational. Then this is a biggie, okay? And people don't really understand this, especially people who are in the horse industry that have children in the horse industry. Kids don't understand buckles and different types of buckles. So when you tell your child to put the pony's blanket on and they can't figure out how to do the buckle, it's not because there's something wrong with your kid. It's literally that you never taught it to do a buckle because you have got Velcro shoes. So sometimes what I'll do is the old blankets, like cut the different buckles off. And then you can do this at home on a rainy day, play, like mix it up, and then have them put the different buckles together. And how fast can they do the buckle? Because you'll be surprised at how difficult it is to do various different buckles. So like the buckle on a bridle, or a buckle on the front of the blanket, or the little straps on the back legs, or the buckles under the belly, right? It's a hard buckle. They're adults that like don't do horses, or like, what is this? Any little thing that's, again, with your hands that seems like stuff we do every day. The double clips, you'd be surprised. They don't know what to do that. So it's a puzzle day. So puzzle day is the different buckles and taking the bridle apart and putting it back together, and then tying the hay net, tying a slip knot or a quick release knot, and doing that like to a contest, to like speed, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because
that's so cool.
They can't do their hay nets. I mean, like by 11, they got to be doing their hay nets, man. This is important.
Yeah.
Or being able to safely tie a pony up, or a horse, or
exactly.
or whatever.
Right.
They can't have so they can't have somebody just do it all for them because it's quicker, right? So
Right.
it's
the only way
interesting
they're gonna learn,
to let them take the time to figure it out, but then to actually know how to do it.
exactly. So summertime is the time to slow down and take your time. So you're not like thinking, oh gosh, can you just tie the darn pony up so we can get on with it? Take your time, like spend time doing that. We spend time at camp and we give them an hour, almost an hour and 15 minutes. You're going to go catch your pony. You're going to tie it up. You're going to brush it. You're going to, take the time and take the time to let them figure out how to use their hands and figure out how to get the hay net into the loop, high enough. And that sort of thing. Take the time. Then the other thing is a lot of kids have a little trouble with the letters in the dressage arena. And we always talk about all King Edward's horses can make big fences. But some kids are not verbal like that. These days, they're really visual. So what we do is we take stuffed animals like a giraffe or a bear, and we put the bear on top of the bee.
Oh.
And instead of learning so you have stuffed animals that relate to the letter, right? Or A for apple, a C for cat, things like that. And you put the stuffed animal or the figure over the letter. And then you call out either the letter or the stuffed animal that's over it. Does that make sense?
Oh,
absolutely.
I'm thinking we need to do this with Addie. Yeah, I think this is great with my niece. I'm like, what?
You can say, go to B, and then they have to get the bear, and they have to bring the bear back to its house. So one of the little tiny kids call it zoo. So we have the zoo animals that match the letters, and then you have like a little circle in the middle of the ring, and you have to go get the animal that matches the letter and put it back in the zoo, which is the circle. Or you do it opposite. You have a barrel with them all on, and you say, take the animal that matches the bee. So you have to see them grab bear and put it on top of the bee. Did you follow that?
Yes, that is so cool. I think I need to go to the 4 to 8.
Yeah.
I'm in the 4 and 8-year-old camp zone. I'm like, yes, that would be so fun.
So that's a really fun game. And it's a really fun game for them because they'll start recognizing the letters more and more and more and understand every time they pick up the butterfly or the bear, they're going to that side of the ring and going to that letter. Because like for me, I had to learn the intro test and the training test. You don't really need to know the letters, right? If you just know the end circles and the middle circles.
Right. Yeah.
What else is there? What else is there really? That's an adventure right there. So then we get on to the older kids, the 12 to 19 kids. The 12 to 19 kids, they really need to feel like they're big kids. Okay. And they need to have selfie days. I hate to say it, but they need to have a lot of selfies with their horses.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This was not a thing when we were all coming through. Yes. What do you do for selfie day?
Well, you just have to set up a little photo, like the brides do. Like they'd set up a little truck. Meadow Lake has that, right? They have a little truck area, old truck, and you sit there and you take your picture if you're a bride or whatever. So you can set up a hokey little photo thing with the hay, and they're all sitting on the hay, holding their horse, getting their horse to hug them, giving the horses kisses. I mean, they'll do that all day long. It's ridiculous, really. I find it crazy. And really, I don't really encourage it, but I have to say that they really like it.
Yeah, I could see it.
To me, the things that I think that are a little more challenging, educational, and help them get confidence, which we all know is very important, is a camping trip. So if you can plan a camping trip with your kid and take them to one year I was taken to Shawnee National Park, and it was incredible. I mean, it was incredible. You can get guides at some of these national parks, and they'll actually, you can ride for 6 to 8 hours. They'll tell you the history of the trail that you're on. And at Shawnee National Park, we rode this trail where the Indians rode up the hill and they would run the buffalo off, and then the buffalo fell to their death so they could eat the buffalo. But it was this incredible hill, and and they just tell you all sorts of history while you're riding. And it's really, really fun. And then you feel like you've conquered the world because of the things that you rode up and down these hills and you went through these big rivers. And I mean, you feel empowered.
Well,
And
that's
you
just
take the horses?
that's an
Go ahead.
adult summer camp thing too.
Yeah,
you know?
I was going to say.
Yeah, and
like,
then you can camp in like caves. And obviously you need the right horse for this. Your Grand Prix dressage horse might not be going on the Shawnee National Trail ride.
no, you can't
I would
go
not
around the
suggest that.
farm.
See if
But
you can
you
borrow a
could-
fjord. Fjords are
Yeah, exactly.
They're tough.
But some of these parks, they actually have really good quarter horses or like some Tennessee walking horses. And I mean, it's in North Carolina, they have some great trail trips and stuff. And it's just a really good experience again. And I like the one that I went on that my friends took me on, that the guide actually told us the history of the trail and who had ridden there. And I know in Kentucky, there's like Daniel Boone. And I mean, it was really interesting. And everybody that went, even the teenagers that we took, loved it. And it wasn't all just, Yahoo around there, whatever. And then again, I haven't done this, but I know kids that have done this, is that they go out west and they do the cattle drives. Again,
Yes.
they come back incredibly well balanced and enduranced. Have a lot more endurance. Hound walking is another thing that I do think is a good experience for kids. Again, it's walking the hounds. It's not fox hunting. It's walking the hounds. And it's really good because, number one, they've got to control their pace a little bit and not step on hounds.
Yeah.
And then
They don't like that.
and no, that's not good. And like you learn different verbiage, like hark. Hark means to be quiet, which you can use in the grocery store. Hey, kid, hark, hark. Everybody shut up. Instead of saying shut up, you could just be like hark, and they'll all be quiet.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah. The other thing that I think, sometimes you can't go to like away shows. Some of my kids who event, we're all locally. I know that hasn't happened, but locally we don't have to travel very far here in Kentucky. And so sometimes the kids are like, I just want to go to one away show, something that's 4 hours away and it's like a destination, like going to Tryon or going to Aiken, North Carolina. This is a destination show. So if you go, spend time with your kid, kind of see the site, learn how to, stay in a hotel, do it up, do it right.
Yeah.
If you can do it.
Yeah. I remember that was a big thing when I was a kid. I remember going to my first away show, which was at Lake Erie College. Like, it was a big deal. Like, I remember it was so fun.
You feel like you're famous. You feel like you're, you're going to the Olympics or something. It's a big thing, and they come back with a lot more confidence. The other thing, again, is teach your kids to braid. Teach them to braid. And don't teach them how to braid one braid. Teach them how to braid many braids. Teach them how to do hunter braids. Teach them how to do that new, like with the long mane, I do it. I braid down, I loop up, and I'm linking. I guess it's called a link braid, but it's like a button braid, and then it links to the next one, and then a button, and it links to the next one. And then I was at the quarter horse show, and there was some different braid I'd never done before. Oh, had to learn it. Teach them the braid. The other reason you want to teach them the braid, again, you have free labor. This is very important. If they like to braid, now you have your own braider.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, I know some teenagers that braid for people at the shows and earn a little bit of money, and
that's right.
That's a useful skill, right? And it's always in demand, right? So and then I find that the kids who really like braiding, like I have kids that if they really like braiding, then they'll come to me and, Miss Angela, I'm going to braid for people, and I said, well, Miss Angela suggests people, like the hunt comes to me and says, can you get us a braider? Well, they have to prove to me that they can braid a braid that's well enough to be paid for. Yeah, and once they get approval, then I sell them to the hunt or to my hunter friends. But learning the different types of braids is really important. Then the last thing is for kids with their driver's license. And that is, there is no reason why in the summer you can't hook up your truck and trailer, take them to a big parking lot, and drive the truck and trailer around.
This is a
learning
big deal.
to drive the truck and trailer is a very good skill for when you're sick and your kid can drive but has not driven the truck and trailer yet. This is very important.
No, it is.
Very good skill.
My mom did this with us. Yep, my mom did this. She took us to the horse park. So, we can go to the horse park, and it's a park. And then we went to it. There's another local park, and she taught us how to back up, and she taught us how to. So no, we did that because she would have us drive. Same concept that we needed to drive.
Yeah, I learned how to drive the truck and trailer at 14 on Highway 5 in California. My dad was tired. He pulled over. He said, it's a straight line for the next 3 hours. Get in the truck and drive straight. And I did. Yeah. It was totally illegal, obviously, but I can drive a truck and trailer anytime, anywhere, and turn it and back it. And I think practice. And people don't want to do that. I don't really understand that. Obviously not illegal, but once they have their license and they're driving, teach them how to hook the trailer up. Teach them how to drive it. And actually, again, I feel like the more independence at the older age that you give them, the more confidence they get, the more they're going to try things, the more they're going to ride better, because we all know that's a big part of it.
I love it. First of all, I really do want to come to camp. Yeah? What's the other one?
I have one more. And I don't know if this is possible anymore around, but we used to have parks that we could actually swim our horses in. And do they have that up in Canada where you can take your horse swimming?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Really?
we've got the Great Lakes, so.
Oh yeah.
It's not at all locations, but
parts of it. Is there places where you could actually get in and swim safely?
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Oh, cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So,
yeah. Not at all beaches, but for sure at some beaches, you're going to have to do a little bit of research, but lots of the beaches on the Great Lakes are sandy, and you just walk in, and eventually the horse will swim.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of a real fun, a different experience, and you feel the horse differently, and it's a nice, cool weather thing to do. The younger kids riding in sprinklers is great. So, and I actually, the last day of camp, everybody gets into a water trough. And they think they're just swimming in their water trough, but they're actually kind of cleaning the water trough for me.
Yeah, they cleaned it. Yeah, I did that. I would clean the water trough in the summer and jump in. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It was great. Yeah. It was the reason to clean the water trough. It was awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I think that's all, again, slow it down. Realize that some of the things that you're impatient about during the normal year of work and school, you could spend time just having patience and letting them try it.
Yeah.
Letting them try it. And the more confidence they get, the better everything's going to go. So.
Well, and you're really good about that. You taught my sister and I that, my sister brought my niece up to you, and, she was, you just kind of put her in there, and she had to learn how to tack up. And she was, and, of course my sister just was doing it for the speed and just to, let's ride so we can go eat dinner kind of thing. So it was good you're like, no, she'll be okay. You're famous around our house for that.
How long is this going to take? I know. I love it when people go, how long is this going to take? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take.
Yeah. It could take a while.
But I love know if they want to ride, they will get that tack on that horse.
Yeah. I love it.
They will.
Well, Angela, thank you so much for all your ideas. Where can our listeners find you online if they have any more questions for you?
Ariatti Equestrian Services. You can find us at ariattihorse.com. And then we have a Facebook page, Ariatti Equestrian Services, where you can see kind of what the kids are doing. Those are the ways. So there you go. I love
it. Thanks, Angela. Yep. We love it. Great ideas.
All right. You guys have a great summer. Have fun.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
Well, everybody had a favorite morning drive show in the days we all listened to radio. They were goofy, funny, and entertaining.
You can have that again, only this time it focuses on life with horses. We are here every weekday on your podcast player. Search for Horses in the Morning and come join us.
We are a little goofy, hopefully funny and entertaining, and you might learn something along the way, too. We are the world's leading daily podcast about horses since 2010 with over 2,600 episodes for you to binge on. Subscribe today.
What are you waiting for? Pull your phone out of your pocket, blow off the hay, and subscribe to Horses in the Morning.
Well, tonight for our 10-year anniversary month show, we have good friend of mine, Patty Mayer, back on the show. She's been on a lot and been a huge supporter of ours. So Patty, welcome.
Thank you, and congratulations. How exciting, 10 years. That's actually a huge achievement.
Well, you come from media background and from movies, and so you do know a lot about what it's like to have a show go for 10 years. It's a lot. Yeah. It's a commitment for sure.
It's a lot. I mean, some of I would guess there are fairly few TV series, and you would know the names of all of them that have lasted 10 years or more. I mean, it's a big deal.
Well, we've been very lucky to have people like yourself, friends of ours, that have come along this journey. And a lot of times you weren't even kicking or screaming. You just were like, okay, when do you want me to come on? You're always amazing. And you and I have been friends much longer than 10 years.
True.
Goodness.
Ooh,
yeah.
It's a long time.
20 years, over 20 years.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Like late 90s.
Yeah.
And it's a long time. It's okay. But yet we're young. You in particular, of course, are young. I'm in particular not, but that's okay. It all works out.
But I think too, I mean, that is literally, a huge part of the horse industry, and all of us, I think that's what I think Phil and I would say this together. We hope that people see that. Like, we have our friends on the show to basically talk about horse training, and we try to keep it very similar to a phone call that we would have if we were talking about or sitting around having a glass of wine around the fire pit. This week we've been working together again. I got kind of an SOS call. Last weekend?
I did. I gave you an SOS call.
Yeah, I got an SOS call that on a Saturday night, late, actually. I don't think I talked to you till Sunday morning, that your horse was arriving here on Tuesday.
Yeah. So by backstory for your listeners, my horse Cato, who does Grand Prix with me, has been ridden in CPEDIs, which is a para dressage version of a CDI. He's been ridden by two different para dressage riders in CPEDIs to a fair amount of success, especially since they don't ride him regularly. One of them actually just catch rode him. So there's a grade 4 para rider who's 14 years old and has cerebral palsy. His name is Genevieve. Rode him at the CPEDI in Temecula, whenever it was, a month ago. And my friend Mia Rodier Devallo rides him fairly regularly in competition. And so the poor thing has to do, Grand Prix with me, and then grade 2 para dressage with Mia, and then he's also done grade 4 para with Genevieve. And Mia is trying out for the WEG on him, which is in Tryon, which is not that far from Reese's farm, 5.5 hours from Reese's farm. And the only flight to get him from Los Angeles to the East Coast was a flight last Tuesday, not this Tuesday, and he's not competing for a couple more days, to Indianapolis. And then it was like, oh, wait, now what? So I did. I gave you a call saying, could he stay with you for a week? So thank you very, very much.
Oh, well, again, that's what friends are for. And at the end of the day in the horse world, if Patty calls and needs some help, I am happy to help her. And it was super fun. Plus, we got to ride Patty's Grand Prix horse, which is never sad to do. And he's been here before. Patty came. So I knew him. He had been here before and he was no trouble. But it was kind of funny because again, you get an SOS call from a friend in this business, and because I guarantee there will be an SOS call from me another time, and there has been for this show in particular a few times when you've had a guest not show up, and I'm like, "Hey, Patty, what you doing at 6:30?"
Yeah. But I'll tell you, it is what we all do for each other. I've got, in fact, 2 horses who are flying to Europe, one of whom is one of our international competition horses, one of our, elite horses, are coming to my house tomorrow because they need horseshoes before they get in an airplane to Europe. And so the horses and the farrier are all meeting at my house. Yeah, tomorrow. So yes, it's what so my horse is going to go sit out in corrals overnight and have an outside night because I've got a stallion and a gelding showing up. So yes, it is what we all do for each other.
It is, and it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big community, and it spans, almost the entire globe. And even if you haven't, talk to somebody in 10 years or so. I mean, you can always, that you have those friends that you can call and say, or like, do you know someone, right? Like it's even if I personally don't know anybody, I or can't help, I can certainly refer you to somebody who I think could help. And then it's, that network of people you can text or call is right there. It's like, it predated Facebook, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's for sure. And it's for sure 6 degrees of separation. I mean, which is great. Which is great, especially when, you've competed around the world and people in, far afield and you need something. It's so nice to be able to, you're right, pick up the phone, pick up a text, do a WhatsApp, send an email, Facebook message someone, whatever, and know that you have a community who can do things. Reese also got my horse body clipped because he's going to North Carolina from Southern California. So, where you say, okay, help.
Yeah.
I need to stash my horse. I need him ridden and I need him body clipped. Can you help him? Reese is like, absolutely. So that was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got this. It was great. So we wanted to talk a little bit because there is a para CPEDI for the WEG. It is technically not the WEG, but it is the World Championships. That is we'll be technically correct. That is happening, and so we talked a little bit about what it is, but talk to us a little bit about. Again, Cato is a Grand Prix horse. He's come here to the U.S. dressage finals. You competed him all the way through CDI level. So tell us, what has it been like to train para riders?
Well, I mean, to me, it's been super interesting. I mean, I've only taught 2. I mean, Mia, I've been teaching for, 18 months, something like that. And she is an extraordinary athlete. I mean, before she was injured, she was a dancer and a contortionist. And so while there are parts of her body she can't control at all. Her legs just flap along. There are parts of her body she really can control. She has a great deal of education about her body because she was a dancer. And, much more, she knows body parts in a way I don't, like, muscle groups and stuff. When she's strong enough, she can sit up like a goddess on a horse. Again, her legs just kind of flop along in a kind of haphazard way. But every other part of her body, or most other parts of her body, she can control, maybe not with a huge amount of strength, but she can sit evenly on a horse, and she's a very smart rider. So Mia and her husband Matt and I have kind of gotten good at explaining to horses or helping horses understand Mia's aids versus an able-bodied person's aids. I do teach my horses voice aids anyway, so they do go forward from a cluck, and I will usually kiss to canter them. I mean, obviously use normal able-bodied aids as well, because I want them engaged and I want them sitting and all of that stuff. So we usually will start her out on the lunge line. She carries 2 whips and she has pretty good control over her hips. And what we do is we simply have her give her aid, and then we'll back it up with what the horse understands, which is a normal lunging aid. And it really doesn't seem to take them long at all to figure her out, or at least it hasn't taken. Most of the horses that we've trained this way have really kind of figured her out super fast, and they're very, very happy with it. I mean, bless Cato, he is an okay Grand Prix horse. He's not the most enthusiastic piaffer in the world, but boy, a medium walk to a stretchy circle walk and a working trot to a lengthened trot, he is all about that. And what makes him pretty good at this, and she has her own horse as well, who's quite good as a para horse, and we've had other horses for her too, is that they're easy on the bit. So they're light in her hands. So she doesn't, because she can't push with her legs. And they are responsive to both to a voice aid and maybe a little jiggle with a whip, because that's really all she's got. She's got her hips and she can use them very well, but you're not going to get a horse out of the halt who otherwise doesn't want to go out of the halt because, she can't spur them or anything and she can't kick at them. So it's been super interesting as a process, and, to watch how horses learn to go from how horses translate from one set of aids to another set of aids. And I've just found it fascinating. I mean, I don't normally teach, it's not like I've had this huge experience teaching people who aren't able-bodied or children or, people who don't age like an adult. And it's been really interesting to watch horses figure it out. I mean, Mia could for sure and absolutely will ride Cato through third level tests. And, she could probably ride him through fourth level test 1, like today in a snaffle. And because they just have an understanding. And it's so interesting to watch. The other thing that's been interesting to watch is, we've talked about him before because he's historically a spook. And, he is by Glocks Johnson, who is by Jazz. He's out of a Gribaldi mare. You kind of couldn't get worse breeding in terms of spooking and bolting and bucking. And he does none of that with her, or at least knock wood, hasn't so far.
Wow.
Never say never, but
never say never. So far, now granted he's a little older now, he's 15, but so far he's done none of that with her. And Genevieve, who is, a 14-year-old with cerebral palsy, and she's grade 4, she's much more able-bodied. But Genevieve is itsy tiny, like she's a slender 14-year-old, and took him in a CPEDI a few weeks ago. The wind had the flags flapping. Able-bodied people couldn't get their horses in the arena. I mean, in CDI, like able-bodied CDI riders had to withdraw.
Wow.
And Cato was just like, Cato had one little spook. Genevieve gave him a kick. He was like, yeah, gotcha.
Wow.
It was so interesting. I mean, I wish I understood better how horses translate that. But suddenly they go into, I'll take care of this for you, Ma, mode, which he absolutely does not do for me. For me, he's like, yeah.
Good luck.
Let's see what I can do. Good luck. I may or may not cooperate. But he does. I mean, it's just fascinating to watch because Mia and I shared him at a horse show 2 weeks ago. So I rode him in the Grand Prix and she rode him in grade 2 para on the same days. And he was perfectly happy to do both. It was so interesting to watch. And we've done that repeatedly. So there you go. I mean, it kind of reminds me how interesting and in some ways adaptable horses are. And they have memories that are so specific. Do you know what I mean? Like he will remember how I ride him, but he also remembers how Mia rides him. And he doesn't confuse the two. And I just find that interesting. And I certainly don't have a scientific explanation for it. That is above my pay grade. But I certainly find it fascinating to watch. So, and then if we want to talk about, competition stuff, then the poor horse has to get on an airplane, fly to Indianapolis, get vanned to Reese's place, spend a week at Reese's place. He's now getting, with luck, he will have 5 minutes ago kind of thing, arrived in North Carolina.
Yes.
And then he competes and then he flies home. I mean, that's obviously we
quite
do
a
things
journey
like
for a person. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously we do things like, I have vets meet him when he lands from airplanes and I have him, hydrated. I have them hang, bags and dehydrate and rehydrate him. And, he gets days of walking and he gets treated very nicely, but that's tough. Wow. It is tough on them.
Yeah,
and they are generous creatures. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
No, it's so cool to see him. And we wish you guys the best of luck this week at Tryon. We are going to be absolutely cheering you guys on. It's so fun to hear, how you've transitioned him into the para world. And we thank you. And Patty, again, we thank you for all your support. And how can we find you online?
Well, I mean, I'm best reached by email at bailiwickhouse@gmail.com. BAILIWICKHOUSE@gmail.com. And I'm on Facebook sporadically, not as often as I should be, or my phone number for text is 310-729-3365. And hey, at some point they're going to change the dressage test again and we can go through and redo all of our dressage test stuff.
I know. Absolutely. So we went through all of the levels with Patty. We did a whole series, I think during COVID, wasn't it? I can't remember.
It was beginning of COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, we
did a COVID year.
Yeah. Well, then before we let you go, Patty, I have to ask you, kind of thinking about that series, what is in the fruit stand today?
Oh, right. So yes, so I have a fruit stand. So here are the fruit stand offerings, although I need to restock it.
Okay.
Peaches. We have pluquats, I still have blood oranges and regular oranges. I have pomelos. At least we think they're pomelos. They may be the sweetest grapefruit in the world.
Yes.
So nice. So nice. And for whatever reason, two grapevines ripened incredibly early, and they aren't the variety of grape I thought they were going to be. So I've got some sort of a slightly unidentified grape that isn't a Concord. It doesn't have seeds, but it's super sweet, and it's definitely a table grape, not a wine grape. So who knows? It was supposed to be a Pinot Grigio grape. Definitely not that.
Oh, that's so
The
funny.
Pinot Grigio grapes are not ripe yet, and they won't be ripe until August, September. And I've got a ton of finger limes. So as per usual, I have more citrus. Oh, and it's the last of the artichokes.
Oh my gosh.
There's so much going on.
There's
a lot going on. There's next year I'm going to have cherries. I'm so excited.
What?
I just planted some cherry trees.
Lovely.
So if everybody knows, we would get an update during COVID of what Patty had in her fruit stand. And she started this fruit stand at her farm in California where she would put her extra fruit out and her neighbors would come and get it. And so we talked about it a lot. And so I know Phil and I are always like, when do we get to get a package from the fruit stand?
Yeah.
Well, if you come down to Tryon this week, I'm going to bring a bunch of apples because I do have apples as well at the moment.
Love it. Well, thank you so much, Patty.
Thank you so much. And congratulations on 10 years. It's pretty impressive. I mean, it's really great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We appreciate it having friends like you and help us out with the show. And there's only so much content that Reese and I can bring to our listeners. And without people like you, that it wouldn't have happened.
Well, any old time. I like talking. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye, Patty. Thank you so much.
Bye. Okay, bye.
Well, Phil, before we have our Trust Design Trainer Tip of the Week, we wanted to talk about how great the halters are and how much we love them. You and I have both been pretty busy this summer, out and about, and my boys are looking really sharp in their Trust Design. And I know you used them at the horse show this last weekend as well.
Yeah, they are great designs and great quality halters that we appreciate Trust Design so much for sponsoring our show and allowing us to bring you all these great tips.
I love it. And we have a listener discount code for listeners, don't we?
Yes, that 10% code is entered at the checkout. That's HRN for 10% off.
Fantastic. Well, we love it. And we have to thank Trust Design and Justin there. He has been such an amazing sponsor for us and the show. We would not be here without him. Thanks to Justin and the Trust Design team for all their support. So we've got a great tip. I've actually sent this to you. I think sometimes when I'm on the internet, I'll or poking around, I'll send you things. So this was one of the things I sent you because I felt like it was really important. So do you want to get started?
Yeah, of course. This comes to us from the FEI page, and this is tips for young equestrians from successful professionals. But I think they're just great tips for anyone who is riding and working on getting better, that you can follow these tips and hopefully make you a better rider or more successful at the shows or for all things equestrian. So without further ado, let's bring you this first one. Is to become a better rider, you have to be open to criticism. So I think that's here it's number one. I think this is kind of number one in my book too. It's we all have to have a certain ego to be able to go out there and do our thing, especially if you're a competition rider, but always be willing to put your ego aside and learn something new.
Yeah, it's so true. And, sometimes, maybe it isn't delivered in the best way. But at the end of the day, you hope you're working with people that really want to see you get better and are trying to motivate you. Or sometimes criticism is hard. We've both had it. I'm sure I've called Phil many times and, cried a little in my soup, if you want to say. But at the end of the day, we're all trying to get better here, and we're all working, and to be with a positive team that helps you is really, really, really helpful. All right.
I think there's a saying, that I try to go by whenever, somebody's going to criticize me or, just getting a test score sheet back and looking at the comments is to think about what is the most generous interpretation of what somebody has said. Yeah. So, we always go towards, what's the most negative interpretation. But right. if you want to think about criticism in a way that's going to help you is, what is the generous part of what somebody's trying to say to you? And that's always helped me and guided me to not think that, somebody hates me or I look terrible or whatever. It's just like, try to think about the interpretation of what somebody is or their intent behind what they've said.
Right.
So
right.
That's helped me in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
For number 2, be relentless.
Yes, it's true. And being relentless. Okay. I do have to say, I really appreciate this when I have someone apply for like a job in the horse world. Cause I do a lot of times I'll get a job and I say, hey, listen, I'm in Florida. I'm not hiring right now, but can you email me back in March? And it's also a little bit of a test. So if anybody ever applies for a job, now you know the secret. And that is, I want to know that they want to email me back and want to be a part of the team or whatever it may be. And that is that email back in March or that email back again to say, hey, no, I really want to be with you. I am so dedicated to this, etc. And that goes a really long way. But that's the same with riding. I mean, at the end of the day, the sport is going out every day and getting 1% better or 0.5% better or whatever. Every day is working a little bit harder at moving forward. And I'm pretty relentless. I think, Phil, you are too. So what do you think?
Yeah. Every day I kind of try to wake up with, the morning motto is rise and grind. Because
I love it.
Sport is a grind. Emotionally, physically, all these things. So you just gotta, try to do something every day that is going to move you forward. So just rise and grind, and it's hard. You're tired, all those things, but just keep doing it, right? Just keep coming back. Just keep showing up. Just showing up is half the battle, right?
Yeah.
Especially horse training, they're trained over many months and years. You can't think of, making progress in terms of days and weeks and hours. It's just a grind. And we talked about not too long ago, we talked about light bulb moments. I mean, you're not going to have light bulb moments if you're not grinding away, working at things and trying to get better.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And it's true. It's that's what this sport is. And there's ups and downs. And I always tell people to celebrate the ups and try to keep their head up when they're down, because we all have them. We have the ups and downs. That's horses, and know that it'll come back up again. So, but yeah, I love it. Be relentless. I love it. That's exactly what we do every day. All right. Number 3.
Yeah. 3 and 4, we're going to put together. This is number 3 is good riding isn't enough. And 4 is always be learning. I think those two go together because, 3 is about good all-round horsemanship because, it's a holistic picture. And then 4, always be learning. I mean, about horsemanship, that applies there too, but about everything to do with your horse, because, in the end, it's your responsibility. It's not your coach's responsibility. It's your responsibility to look at, if things aren't going well, how are you going to get them towards that goal?
Yeah. Well, and again, we always praise the listeners to the show. I mean, obviously, if you're listening to the show, you're interested in the sport and you want to learn more about it. That's what we designed the show for. And that's why we have a book club, all these little things that we try to give you more and more information to open your mind and to give you more information about being better horse people. I mean, that's why some of our content isn't always about dressage, right? Because at the end of the day, it's managing these athletes, and it's difficult, and it takes a lot of time and effort and energy by a whole team of people to make these horses do what they do well every day, and to let the grind happen, if you want to say it's like that. And you can always learn. And I think as I've gotten older as a trainer, obviously, doing this podcast, we get advice and things from a lot of different people that I wouldn't have even thought about. And I'm so thankful that this pushes you and I, Phil, to learn more and to always be talking more. And I always feel like we can do things better. And, that's where my friends and colleagues come in, and my coaches. And, it is truly a sport that you never know enough in the sport, because you may think you got it on one, and then you get a new horse in your barn the next day and nothing that you were doing applies to that horse. And you've got to have lots of tools in that toolbox. So we want to keep that going. So I love those, always learning, and good riding isn't enough is exactly right.
Okay. Number 6 is something that we talk about a lot, and it's not just, as far as competitions, but you have to always be improving your mental game.
Yeah.
So, we've had sports psychologists on, we've had, people who are looking, who have written books. A couple of books have to do with this. The mental part of riding is so important that you can never stop working on this as well.
And I mean, I've learned so much just by, again, reading the books we've done on the mental aspect of riding through the podcast. And also I've also worked with a sports psychologist for myself. I needed some help, and they were amazing. So lots of helpful tips for sure on, getting better and better. And Phil, there's also one of them is consistency is key. And boy, is that true.
Yeah, I mean, we're turning toward, to the rise and grind, and to the, you got to be really trying to be a reliable partner for your horse. And, so most horses can only be ridden 45 minutes a day, right. That kind of thing, or to be trained 45 minutes a day. But the key is doing it every day, or doing it as much as you can, to get that time in the saddle. And you don't have to be training and running through tests every day, but you got to be doing something with the horse, because, you've only got so much time. They don't live that long. So if we're going to try to train our horses the best we can, we've got to try to get in the time.
Well, and that's just part of it, right? And it's the same if you were working out, or, the more consistent you can be, the better you will be. And it's the same with horses. They need, and horses, especially as you get up the levels, I've always found my FEI horses on the day, they're okay with one day off, because that's consistent, right? We have Sundays off pretty much here, maybe Mondays, but most of all Sundays. So Sunday's very quiet here, but as Monday morning comes back around and they're like, and if, one of us happens to be on vacation,
or they're ready to do something, because that's a big part of their day. The other 23 hours of every day, they're in their fields, or in their stable, and that kind of thing. But your interaction with them becomes an important part of their schedule and their day, and I think they miss it when you give them time off. It's not necessarily good for a horse to have to have a ton of time off, or to only be working now and again, or to not have that schedule.
And that's very true. I have the pleasure of working with some really top level event horses, and it is very much in their schedule that they get vacation, if that makes sense. Like those horses, they'll go really hard. They'll go get ready for a Land Rover or a Burley. And then those horses will get time off. They'll get a couple weeks of just in the paddock, but those horses are used to that. Dressage horses, I mean, very rarely will they get, they get 2, but after about 2 days off, my horses are there. It's more stressful to them that they're not doing something. So, I mean, I've been known to put tack on, walk them around the arena once and go back in, and they're fine. They're like, oh, okay, we're cool. Like we've ridden today. But they don't do particularly well. My horses just have never done that, because they love the routine and they love doing it every day. So. Number 7, work ethic is critical. Yeah, Phil and I work multiple jobs. That's very normal. And it doesn't feel like work because we get to do what we love and we get to be with our horses. But I do tell my students at the university, I'm like, but I don't actually care what business you're going to go into. Whatever you're going to go into, you're going to have a good work ethic, Well,
I think, we're very lucky, you and I, in that we were able to choose a job that is also a lifestyle, so that we're involved with horses a lot, sometimes 7 days a week, but it doesn't feel like work. So kind of putting the work in is not always the most difficult thing, and I think when I talk to your students at Kentucky, for instance, it's like, if you choose this, you have to choose this, like, grab it by both hands and really love it. Right. So
yes.
That's where, we can easily put in the work ethic. The work ethic is there because we love what we do. And, and that makes things easier anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
And
number
then
8.
Final one. Yeah.
Listen to your horse.
Yeah.
So we're working with an animal, of course, that, we have to consider their wants and needs and health and mental health and more than our own, more than our need for ribbons and our need for sports prestige, as it were. They always have to come number one.
They do. And this was an awesome list. Advice from equestrian stars to young hopefuls. And it was on the FEI website. And I felt like it was an amazing message for our tip this week. And I hope it helps, again, for our Trust Design tip of the week. Well, as always, we love email and Facebook shout outs. Send them our way. If you have any, fun things to tell us about the show, or how you enjoy the show, or how you have enjoyed the show for the last 10 years, feel free to send us an email. We would love it. We would love that fan mail because we will get it on the show. We do have a book club book coming. We're working on it right now. Phil's working on it, and we can't wait to announce it because I think it will be a good one for us all to enjoy for the summer. So as always, you can find our show notes and links to today's guests on our website, dressageradio.com. Like us on Facebook, just search Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio. My website is maplecrestfarmky.com, and my email is reese@horseradionetwork.com.
I think the best way to find me is probably through Facebook, or my email is philip@horseradionetwork.com. I'd like to thank our sponsors for allowing us to put on a good show for 10 years. That's Kentucky Performance Products and Trust Design. If you'd like to support our show and the Horse Radio Network, you can do that through the auditor program found at horseradionetwork.com.
Everybody, keep your heels down and your shoulders back, and we can't wait for our show next week.